Hello, welcome to the American Backpacker. I'm back here in the Ocala National Forest. I'm going to be heading into the Juniper Prairie Wilderness. You can see the sign behind me there. It's June, the month of June 2018, and it's a hot day today. Temps are going to be in the mid-90s, and I've already went about maybe 2 miles from the trailhead here to get into the wilderness area. I'm on the Florida Trail, and I'll be heading into the wilderness area here and looking for a base camp here hopefully soon, probably in about 2 or 3 hours. I'm going to go in about a couple of miles, 2-3 miles, and do an overnight trip tonight. There's been a lot of bear activity around here. A couple of months ago they had this area closed due to bear activity. Come to find out that there was a backpacker out here that they found his tent was shredded up, and I guess there was food in the tent and the bear got into it. And they ended up closing the park, or the wilderness area I should say, and they ended up finding the guy at a later time. So it goes to show you that when you are in a wilderness area, no matter where, you need to store your food properly. And also, while you're out in the wilderness area, always be cognizant of the area around you, looking for tracks, signs of bear or other wild animal. And again, once I get to my base camp, I'll go ahead and do some more videos there and make this into kind of a wilderness adventure, wilderness expedition for today. So stay tuned while I venture into the Juniper Prairie Wilderness for my overnight backpacking trip. During my trip out to my base camp, this tick attached itself to my glove. This tick is known as the Lone Star tick, and you can tell by that white dot on its back. I'm off the Florida Trail and found this open spot. I'm going to go ahead and set up my base camp here for tonight. Been a lot of rain here in Ocala, so I might have some mosquito problems tonight, but I went ahead and treated my clothing, and I went ahead and put some Picardin on me. So don't feel them now, but I'm sure tonight as it comes, or it gets darker, that the mosquitoes will be coming out. Well, I'm at my base camp. It's a little afternoon, and hot day today, no doubt about it. So got in about 15 minutes ago, just checking the area out, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and drink some water, rehydrate myself, make sure that when you're in climates such as this here in Ocala, that you stay hydrated, because heat exhaustion, heat stroke definitely can happen, as well as during the wintertime, hypothermia. But then even in the evenings here in the summertime, you never know, the chill can move in. Not today. I think the lows today or tonight will probably be in the mid 70s, which will be warm, so we'll see. No rain is expected, but I'm planning on it. Always plan on it and have the proper gear with you. And I'm going to go ahead and take you around the base camp here, give you a quick tour before I set up my tent and other items. Open prairie there in the background. I'm going to set my camp up here, base camp here. Of course, as always, looking for trees that may fall on my tent. You can see that it's been raining here a lot in Ocala, and here in the prairie you got a lot of standing water, so that means that there'll probably be some mosquitoes tonight, but I treated my clothing and myself, so we'll see how that works. Right now I don't feel any mosquitoes, but later on they will probably move in. Here's an overview of my base camp, my tent there, and you see my backpack in the background. I went ahead and put the rainfly on for now. I probably will take it off. Looked like some rain was coming in, so I went ahead and just put it on there for now. But the base camp is done. And you can see my shirt over there hanging to dry. And in the backdrop there you have the prairie, open area. It's full of water right now. You can see the water there past my shirt. I have my 550 cord set up. Taut line hitch there. Put a bowline knot over here, and it'll hang my stuff. And in this situation, it's definitely great for drying my shirt out. There's that standing water I was talking about. It's been there due to the rain, the daily rain. And of course, my fire pit there, and I gathered some wood. You can, I'll tell you what, you can always find some wood out here on the ground. You don't have to cut any trees or anything. A lot of dead wood on the ground. And just pick it up as you walk around your base camp here. All right, now let's talk about where I put my camp here. I use that acronym WESS, W-E-S-S, Water, Elevation, Security, and Safety. Well, we got the water there, probably closer than I should be, but again, that's really not a pond or a river, but it's marshland. Elevation, well, you're not going to get any in Ocala here. Security, I have a path going out that way, and I also have a path going out this way if I need to get out. And then safety, be the trees around me. Are any of them dead, ready to fall over, etc.? If I'm in an area where there's rocks, I would also look at that, but those are the 4 points you need to cover while you're here at the, or while you're out of base camp in any wilderness area. All right, now we have the my food. I went ahead and hung it, and you want to get at least 10 feet off the ground, about 4 feet away from the tree. We've been having a lot of bears in this particular area, a lot of bear sightings. I told you earlier that they closed the this area down due to a lot of bear sightings. So be safe and sorry. Hang your food there, or hang your food, I should say, or bring a bear container. Also, make sure that you put any of your toiletries, hand wipes, things like that in that bear canister, or when you hang it, because those also do attract bears. And here's just another overview here of my camp. And again, out there is the prairie region out there. And right now, just a lot of standing water. So I have my base camp set up, but it's a very hot day, mid-90s. Tonight, they're expecting the temps to get into the upper 70s. A lot cooler, but still going to be warm. So I'm going to try to leave the tarp off my tent. I don't think there's going to be rain. It has been raining every day here, so it's possible, but me leaving the tarp off the tent will allow me to get better ventilation tonight, because it's going to be a warm evening. So I'm in a very flat area here. There's no elevation here in Ocala, but around me is a lot of water, a lot of marshland. So we've been having a lot of rain here in Ocala here, and what's been happening is usually the water permeates pretty quickly through the sand, but it's been kind of holding its own here due to the amount of rain we've been having. So the good thing about that is that I have water here to filter and utilize to drink and to cook with. Bad thing is that it's going to bring in a lot of the insects, i.e. the mosquitoes tonight. But I went ahead and I treated my clothing with the permethrin, and I went ahead and put some Picardin on my skin, so I'll probably reapply tonight. I also have some sulfur powder that I'll probably maybe sprinkle around the door of the tent there, just to kind of keep the insects on the ground from coming in as I go into my tent. But overall, I like using a tent, especially in the summertime here in Ocala, and that's due to the insects and the reptiles. The heat brings out the insects, and the wet weather here brings in a lot of the snakes, so the tent gives you protection. I'm not saying that you cannot utilize a tarp or a shelter system. I have, but if I were to utilize that here in Ocala, it'd probably be in the winter months. Up north in the Midwest, I've used them many times up there, and I enjoy using them there more than I do here. But again, too, if you're going to utilize that tarp shelter system, I would do it in the winter months where it's cooler and you don't have to worry as much about the insects and even the reptiles. So that's kind of the overview of where I'm at, what's been going on here. What I'm going to do now is going to set up my fire pit. Even though it's going to be a warm evening tonight, I still will light a fire and have that. It's kind of nice in the evenings just to have a fire here at your base camp. So that's kind of what's been going on up to this point, and I hope you tag along in reference to other videos I'll be doing while I'm out here tonight, and then tomorrow morning I'll be heading back in early, get an early start before the heat comes in. I'm on the trail because there's a lot of open areas, and it was hot coming out here. So stay tuned for my adventures here in the Ocala National Forest, specifically the Juniper Prairie Wilderness. I have a Garmin Tempe sensor connected to my watch, and there are the current temperatures. It's a little after 1600 hours, and you can see it's 98.9. The max was 108, and the minimum was 75, and that's when I was at my house earlier this morning. Hopefully that'll get down, the current temp will get down into the 70s. It'll make it for a more pleasant evening. It's about 15 hours, and I just set up a alarm system, a perimeter alarm system around my base camp. I did a video on perimeter alarm systems, and it's posted here on my YouTube channel if you want to take a look at it. So this one here is going to be a little modification from the video that I did back then. In that video, I used an alarm system. It was a window alarm system that you can buy at Home Depot, Lowe's, and it works off a magnet. So if the magnet's broken, an audible sound goes off. Well, I found something else online that looked to be very good, so I'm going to try it out on this trip here. And what it is it's comes under different names. This is an E-alarm, comes under BAE, some call it a hand grenade. And what it is, it's an audible alert device. And when this pin is pulled, it sends out a very high-pitched sound. And that's how that works. So I thought I'd try this unit out here. The only downside with this particular unit is you can't change the battery out of it. Whereas the other unit that I had, you can change the batteries, but those are special kind of watch batteries you got to put in there. If you want to take a look at that video, by all means do so. That way you can see kind of how I'm doing a little modification on this. But the setup is the same. I got a bungee cord, and what I like about bungee cords is they flex, so you can utilize them for different diameter trees, because I wrapped this alarm system around the tree. It's a tripwire alarm system. So I have a bungee cord and I cut it to a specific length, and then I have a clip here that I wrap the bungee cord in so I can adjust the tension on the bungee cord. And I take it and I wrap it around a tree. And then again, I set it up, usually I'm putting up a little higher now, about 2 feet off the ground, no more. Terrain will dictate. So you have the unit here, a lot of ash on the tree here. You have the unit on the tree here, and I take a fishing line, which this one here is a 100-pound test, which I think pretty much will hold out in a lot of different conditions. And it's a kind of a spider wire type, not a monofilament, but it's like a moss green. And I tie it to the pin end here. And then what I do is I take the other end and tie it to another tree. So in essence, you have a tripwire alarm system. So when someone comes by or an animal and they hit this, it'll pull the pin from the main unit, sending off that audible alert, alerting you that someone or something's in your camp. This is really good for areas where there's a lot of wildlife, i.e. bear, cougars, mountain lions, etc. And again, it's an alert system, and when the unit goes off, it'll probably scare away whatever animal is coming into your base camp or around the perimeter of your base camp. It's something you should think about. I use it here in Ocala. Some places I don't, but here definitely I utilize it. And again, it gives you kind of a perspective on safety while you're in the base camp if, again, somebody or something comes in. I've used it out here, the other system, where it's gone off 3 in the morning and it's been a deer. So again, it alerts you to something in the camp, get up and you can deal with it accordingly. So something to think about, having a base camp perimeter alarm system such as this, a tripwire system, at your base camp. So I'm going to show you that tripwire system I have set up that I talked about earlier. And there you go. Bungee cord to the tree, and see the wire there. Have it going to that tree over there. Two Air Force warthogs flying over. Individuals have asked me about foraging while I'm in a wilderness area. And here in Florida, especially here in Ocala, we have what we call soft palmetto. Some people call it swamp cabbage. But this plant right here, a portion of it is edible. If you cut the top off and then get into this area here, and in the center portion of it is a white substance, which is the heart of this particular plant. You can eat that. I'm not going to cut it down now. This one here actually looks like it's been burnt. There's been a fire, whether it's from lightning or something like that. But these soft palmettos, which again is called swamp cabbage, is something that you can forage on here in the Ocala National Forest if need be. And there's plenty of other plants here that I can slowly show you that you again could utilize in a survival situation. The main point, in fact, is always be prepared when you come out here, and if something happens, then you know at least now that this particular plant here is something you can forage on. And you're not going to find this up in the Midwest, but here in the southeast portion, you're going to find those soft palmettos everywhere. It's about 17-10 hours, and just waiting for the sun to set and to start a fire and have some chow. I'm actually pretty hungry, even though it's really hot out here. I'm very hungry, so I'm looking forward to chow, getting a fire going, and getting some pictures here in the evening. Should be a little moon out tonight, not a full moon, but enough where maybe I can get some good pictures and post them on my Facebook page, along with my webpage, AmericanBackpacker.tv. Some clouds moved in today, and no rain. I don't think we're going to have any tonight. I think tomorrow will start kicking back in the afternoon, and I'm going to get my early morning start where I can beat the sun and get back to the trailhead and get back home. So I'll get with you in a little bit here as my overnight adventure here in the Juniper Prairie wilderness continues. So I'm going to go ahead and start my fire. And I start my fires with these Vaseline dip cotton balls. In other words, I take cotton balls and I dip them in Vaseline. That's how I start my fires there. It's pretty easy. There's other fire starters out on the market that you can get. It's very easy to make, and they light in all conditions. And I utilize a lighter. To keep it simple, I do have a magnesium rod in here, just in case the lighter goes bad. The ground's a little saturated, so I built it up a little bit, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay some now. These dry pines and some other sticks on top to kind of get the fire going here. These dry pines really do take off in terms of catching fire here. So the ground area on here is very wet from the rain, and there's still some water kind of settled in this little pit that I dug out. So evening chow, chicken and dumplings, Mountain House, love them. I'm gonna wait for the night to set in and get the fire going a little more, stoke a little more so it gets a little brighter, and then maybe get some pics that I'll be able to put on my Facebook there. Oh, and my webpage. Well, it's about 2200 hours, and as expected, mosquitoes came in pretty bad. So I am in my tent, and I'm gonna go ahead and get some sleep and get up early in the morning and hit the trail so I can get back to the trailhead early and get back home. So this is it for today. And again, I'm glad I brought my tent in reference to keeping the mosquitoes and other insects outside the tent versus inside. All right, we'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It's about 0700 hours, a little after, finishing packing up my base camp here. It was a very nice, quiet evening. At one point I did wake up and I thought that I heard my alarm going off, but it was some crickets here in the marsh that were very loud, louder than I've normally heard them. But for the most part, it was a very nice, quiet, pleasant evening. It was hot, it was humid, but hey, it's June, and being in Ocala in the summer months brings in the heat along with the humidity. Didn't rain last night, which was good, so I was able to keep my rain tarp off the tent, and that was nice because I got a little ventilation, not much, but it did help out. Really, Ocala is a place that if you want to come visit it, the summer months are pretty grueling out here, so be prepared for the heat. The winter months are the better months to come out here and enjoy what Ocala has to offer. Summer months brings in a lot more insects, and again, I was by some water here and that brought in the mosquitoes last night, so I pretty much called it quits early on in the evening, and I didn't get as many pictures and videos as I'd like to get during the evening hours, but I did get some in. Beautiful morning. You saw the video there of the sun rising, so I'm going to be finishing packing up my gear and then getting on the trail and getting back to the trailhead and heading home. So I'll do a couple of videos on the way back, and then kind of my ending thoughts there before I get to the final trailhead. Making sure the fire is out and covering it back over. Eventually the land here, the environment will grow over this, especially here in Ocala. It grows very quick, but want to try to leave that no trace. Make sure the fire is out completely. Again, the ground is really saturated around here due to the rain, so this will grow back over real quick. While I'm exiting the Juniper Prairie Wilderness, I had a great overnight trip. It's always nice to get into a wilderness area, especially even if it's for one night. It makes me feel refreshed when I get back, and I look forward to my next wilderness adventure. It was a hot evening, but if you're going to come here into the Ocala National Forest in the summer months, be prepared for the heat and the humidity. And make sure if you do come out here, you stay hydrated and use those electrolyte packets. They do help, especially at nighttime. The best time to come to the Ocala National Forest is during the winter months. So if you plan a trip, plan it during that time, but I'm not telling you not to come out here in the summer months. But if you do, be prepared for the heat and humidity, because it was hot. It got into the mid-90s, and you can see on my Garmin Tempe gauge that I got into the 100s. Overall, it was a great trip. I appreciate all your support. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The American Backpacker. Again, I put a lot of informative videos for wilderness backpackers, and there may be something on there that may help you in your future adventure in a wilderness area. Don't forget to check out my Facebook page, The American Backpacker. I'm going to post some pictures of this trip on there, and I'm going to post pictures on my webpage, theamericanbackpacker.tv. This is Andy with The American Backpacker. I appreciate you watching, and till next time and some other wilderness area, I'll see you on the trail.